Hey everybody, it's Ron from Pick Dawgz, and this is Ron's Bank Shot Breakdown. We're going to go over 5 college basketball games for Tuesday, February 25th, 2025. Now if you like this video, make sure to hit that thumbs up button and subscribe. Put your college basketball picks in the comment section below. And if you're looking for my best bets, my favorite plays on the board, including my Bank Shot best bet in college hoops, which is my top play each day, you can find those at the premium picks tab at pickdawgz.com. There's also a link in the description. Alright, here we go. Here are the games for Tuesday in college hoops. First up, it's Florida and Georgia. This one's 7 p.m. Eastern. It's going to be on the SEC Network. Now, obviously, Florida's having a great season. That's our preseason pick to win the national championship. Feeling great about that ticket right now. But I do think the Gators are a little bit overvalued because of their record on paper, their AP ratings, and the fact they're on a big win streak against the spread, a 6-game ATS streak going into this game. They're on the road here laying a pretty big price, and I do think Georgia's good enough, especially playing at home with revenge, to be able to cover the number. And honestly, when you look at that last game for Florida at LSU, pretty interesting game. I mean, the final score doesn't tell the full story. LSU was up in that game, about 15 minutes to go in the second half. They had a nice 8-point lead. The Florida Gators, give them credit. They were able to mount the comeback, not only come back and take the lead, but end up winning by 14 to cover the spread. But it was a very competitive ball game. I think Georgia's a much better team than LSU. I think this is a tough spot. Your second straight true road game facing your former coach. This is going to be a pretty big game for Georgia. And this is a Georgia Bulldogs team that was competitive against Auburn in their most recent game. That was a true road game in Auburn. Tyron Lawrence was out, but they were still able to keep it respectable and cover the number in the end. I look for Georgia to do the same in this one. Give me Georgia plus the points. Next up, it's Duke and Miami. This one's 7 p.m. Eastern on ESPN. Now, I know it's not fun fading teams like Duke and Florida, top 5 teams in the country that are in great form right now, but I do think it's the right move just in terms of the price that we're getting with the underdog. I mean, Duke's coming off a giant win over Illinois, 110-67 final. Off of a big win like that, now you're on the road, laying a giant spread on the road against a Miami team that, yes, has struggled mightily this season, 6-21 record, but we can agree they've been a lot more competitive in the last couple of weeks than they were at the very beginning of conference play, where they were just losing every game in blowout fashion. But since then, they've got a couple of conference wins, some conference covers in some losses, and I think Miami's offense does enough in this game to score enough to cover the spread as the home dog playing with revenge. I think Duke is just overpriced. I still think Duke is very much a contender, just like Florida is in terms of the winning the national championship. But at this price, I got to go the other way. There's a ton of value with Miami in this one. Give me Miami in this game. Next up, it's Illinois State and Southern Illinois. This one is going to be a 8 p.m. Eastern start time on ESPN+. Now, the Salukis have had a really unfortunate last 10 days or so in college hoops action, as they've lost 3 straight home games going into this one, and all those games were really competitive and games that the Salukis could have been able to win. I mean, they blew a couple of leads, especially against Valpo, had a sizable lead in that game. It was 24-8 at one point. They led by double digits with 10 minutes to go, but still found a way to lose that game by just 4 points. So they lost by 5 to Belmont, by 2 to Murray State, and by 4 to Valpo. I still think, though, that Southern Illinois has been a lot better than they were towards the end of non-conference play, going into the beginning of conference play in the Missouri Valley. I still think this team is talented enough to go on a run in Arch Madness, which is usually one of the more wild conference tournaments in Division I college hoops. So I think Southern Illinois bounces back with a win here. This is their senior night, their last home game of the year. Pretty young team, but nonetheless, in their last home game, I like their chances. They're playing with revenge. They got crushed in the first meeting, but like I said, a completely different team then to now. I think they're a much improved team. Illinois State, I think this is a kind of a clear letdown spot after the very close win over Missouri State on the road. There's just a 2-point victory there where they were also trailing, had to make a comeback and earn the W. I'm going to go with Southern Illinois, the Salukis, in this one at home. Next up, we'll talk about Western Illinois. They're taking on Lindenwood. This one, 8:30 Eastern on ESPN+. I think we see a lot of points in this game. I'm not necessarily always involved in Ohio Valley Conference totals, but this is one where I do like the over. I think when you look at Lindenwood, they should be able to score at will. I know their offense has really struggled this year, but Western Illinois' defense, one of the weakest not just in the conference but in the country. Lindenwood scores a lot of its points from both the free throw line and 2-point field goals, and they score a lot of points in the paint. I think that's a problem for Western Illinois. They actually have a decent perimeter defense in terms of limiting the amount of three-point jumpers or three-point attempts from their opponents, but they give up a lot of points from two-point range. They have been a pretty disciplined team overall this season, but at times in conference games, we've seen them rack up the fouls and give opponents a lot of free throw attempts. So I think we see Lindenwood score plenty of points in this one, but I also think Western Illinois, the fact that they're a very dangerous three-point shooting team, they're actually top 40 in the country, believe it or not, in three-point shooting, is a problem for Lindenwood. Lindenwood's defense, against three-point shots has not been excellent this year. Otherwise, the Lions have actually played quite well defensively this season, but I think this is a bad matchup for the Lindenwood defense, equally as bad for Western Illinois. The first meeting was pretty low scoring, but it was also a game that both teams really didn't shoot the ball too well in. It was a 71-65 final score. Both teams were sub 30% from the three-point range. They were 68% Western Illinois was from free throw line. I think we see better shooting numbers in this one, more opportunities to score, a lot more open shots. I think we get over the total in Lindenwood, Western Illinois. And the final game we're going to talk about for the Tuesday card in college basketball, it's going to be in the Big Ten, Iowa and Illinois. This one 9 p.m. Eastern on Fox Sports 1. Now, off of that terrible loss that Illinois took on Saturday, 110-67, I do think this is a good spot for a bounce back, a win, and a cover against one of the weakest teams in the conference. And, Iowa was already one of the weaker teams in the Big Ten before the big injury to Owen Freeman. They've been playing without him for a few games, and, we saw them get the win last time out against Washington, but this is a completely different matchup. I think Iowa on the road really struggles to score, which you don't always see. I mean, this is a pretty good offense that the Hawkeyes have, but they rely quite a bit on the three-point jumpers. They're a top 20 three-point shooting team. For Illinois, this team does not give up many threes. Their three-point defense from a percentage is not amazing, but it's still pretty solid at 32.7%. The fact is, though, they just really do not let teams take a lot of open shots from the perimeter. I think Iowa is going to struggle to find open looks consistently in this game. And then we know the Iowa defense is just a sieve out there. One of the worst in the conference, really in the country, in terms of adjusted efficiency. They're ranked outside top 170, but they're 337th in effective field goal percentage defense, 341st in two-point defense. I think Illinois has no problem scoring in the 90s. Should be enough for a win and a cover. And that's it. Those are the games for Tuesday in college basketball. Hope you enjoyed this video. Again, if you're looking for my best bets, including that bank shop best bet, you can find those at Pick Dawgz Premium. As always, this is Ron Romanelli. Good luck.